Good evening, President, faculty, distinguished guest, families, friends, and fellow graduates. Tonight is more than a celebration of earning a degree. It is a celebration of perseverance, growth, and transformation. Each of us has faced challenges that no one fully understands yet. We all arrived here because we refused to give up. As I reflect on my time at Albertus Magnus, I realize that a liberal arts education has given me much more than knowledge. It has changed the way I see the world, the way I see others, and the way I see myself. When I first began my education at Albertus Magnus College, I believed earning a degree was mainly about preparing for a career. I thought success meant earning a degree, finding a good job, and building a stable future. While those goals are important, this senior humanities seminar taught me something much deeper. It teaches us not only how to make a living, but how to live a meaningful life. David Foster Wallace begins his famous commencement speech, "This is water," by telling a simple story about two young fish who don't recognize the water they swim in because it surrounds them every day. His point is that the most important realities are often the hardest to see because they surround us every day. Wallace explains that the most obvious realities are often the hardest to notice. He writes, "The really important kind of freedom involves attention, awareness, and discipline, and being able to truly care about other people." He reminds us that a liberal arts education is not about accumulating facts, but about developing awareness to choose empathy, patience, and compassion over selfishness in our everyday lives. Every day we have the choice to see the struggles of others rather than assuming our own experiences are the only ones that matter. This idea connects beautifully with a brief history of liberal arts education. That reading explains that liberal education was never intended to simply prepare students for jobs. Instead, it was designed to prepare people for responsible citizenship, ethical leadership, and a lifelong learning. It teaches us to ask difficult questions and appreciate different perspectives and understand that every problem has historical, social, and human dimensions. In today's world, where misinformation spreads quickly and people are often divided, these skills are more valuable than ever. Throughout this semester, I discovered that every author was asking us the same question in different ways. What does it mean to be human? Chris Abini taught us that our humanity is often revealed through acts of kindness, especially during suffering. He reminds us that we are never more beautiful than when we are the most human. His story showed that even in times of violence, poverty, fear, compassion has the power to restore dignity. That idea has stayed with me. I now believe our greatest achievements are not measured by wealth, status, or titles, but by how we choose to treat one another, especially those who are vulnerable. Judith Butler expanded my understanding of compassion by exploring grief, violence, and vulnerability. In her work, she argues that everyday human life has value, and that recognizing another person's vulnerability creates ethical responsibility to care for them. Butler writes that precariousness implies living socially, that one's life is always in some sense in the hands of the other. This idea changed how I think about relationships and society. None of us live in isolation. Our choices affect our families, neighbors, coworkers, and communities. Cornel West reminds us that democracy depends on ordinary people choosing courage, justice, and love over indifference. He argues that being educated means more than possessing knowledge. It means accepting a moral responsibility to improve our communities. His words challenged me to realize that education should not end with a diploma. Instead, it should inspire us to become citizens who stand up for truth, fight injustice, and care for those whose voices often go unheard. As a psychology major, many of these lessons became even more meaningful. We studied trauma, discrimination, ethics, resilience, but this seminar reminded me that behind every diagnosis, every historical event, and every social issue is a human being with a story. I am reminded that knowledge without compassion can become dangerous. Education should never separate intelligence from humanity. As we leave Albertus Magnus College, we leave with degrees that will open doors to our careers, new people, and opportunities. But I hope we also live with something even more valuable: the ability to think critically, to act compassionately, and to recognize the humanity in every person that we meet. My liberal arts education has taught me that success is not measured by our jobs, what we earn, the titles that we hold, but by the lives we touch, the dignity that we protect, and the courage we have to do what is right, even when it is difficult. David Foster Wallace reminds us that the important kind of freedom involves attention and awareness and discipline and being able to truly care about other people and to sacrifice for them. So, on that note, congratulations, class of 2026, and thank you.